Hello, welcome in. It is another edition of the Johncast podcast. Thank you for listening, consuming this podcast, whether that's on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for sharing, following. I love the comments. Keep the comments coming on Spotify too. I enjoy those. I reply to those. So let's keep this thing going. Coming up on today's show, we're going to hear a couple of my pregame interviews, one with Trinity Shadd-Ceres, the other with Morgan Van Wie, who earned her first career ace not too long ago against Chicago State. I'll get to those in a little bit. Kelly Sheffield Show, got done recording that. That's going to air. What are we in? What is today? Today's Wednesday. It's going to air tonight at 8 p.m. So this is a Wednesday, being recorded on a Wednesday if you're listening on the same day, at 8 p.m. on ESPN Madison 100.5 in the ESPN Wisconsin app. I do have a clip to share from that. And as always, you can catch the Kelly Sheffield Show on ESPN Madison's YouTube page. I believe those should start getting podcasts as well, but YouTube's going to be the place to go to get those in case you did miss a Kelly Sheffield Show. But I have a clip of him talking about just how valuable the team serving is going to be. I just wanted to share a couple of my thoughts quickly of what we've been seeing from the Badgers. Now, the opponents, the last few matches, they've been not as impactful perhaps as the first weekend of opponents, but what I like about the schedule at the start of the year, how you kind of get a test right away, and then you get a little period of relaxation before it ramps up again. Well, we had that little period of relaxation, I guess you could call it. You got a match against Chicago State in which you got to get 12 players, I believe the number was, into the match. Morgan Van Wie gets her first ace. Natalie Wardlow had 3 aces. Anaya Warren got the start. So I like the way that that the season, the schedule flows. And now that we're in it live, I do still like the way that flows. And it's going to ramp up again now with a top 25 matchup against Georgia Tech in a very small gym coming up on Friday. And then, you go to Fiserv Forum after that. You got Florida too. So it ramps back up again right before Big Ten play starts. So I do like the way it kind of tests the team. How electric is Grace Egan serve when it's going like it was against the Panthers when she has 3 aces out of the first? I think it was like 8 points, 5 aces in the first set. On the broadcast, Pete and I started looking up the volleyball record books. Like, how many aces? Like, she's already got 5. The record, by the way, is 6 aces in a 3-set match. In fact, 6 is the most of any match under 25-point rally scoring, whether that's 3, 4, or 5 sets. The most ever in any scoring, whether that's side out, 25-point rally, or 30-point rally scoring, the most ever in a match at Wisconsin was 8. She had 5 in the first set. So Grace Egan's service just really, really electric. Couple other thoughts. Hey, I went to a Wisconsin football game. I went to the Middle Tennessee State game, and I'll just tell you what, I don't get to go to many games, whether that's pro or college, as a fan, and I miss it. It's awesome. It's really fun. I went with my wife and my daughter. It was my daughter's first ever football game. So we got the bucket hats. We walked around, checked out the field house beforehand, got some, face painting type of tattoos. She got one on her arm. I got one on my hand. It's almost gone. If you're watching on Spotify, doing my best to get rid of that. But it was just a blast, man. And one thing that I didn't exactly like is the booing at the end of the first half. Now, I understand that every fan has a right to, if they want to express themselves by saying, boo you, I get it. You can do that. I'm not saying you can't boo. I just don't know what booing accomplishes, especially in the second game of the season. I get you're frustrated. I get it. We get frustrated and we do things maybe we don't mean. But it's not as if, so the way I look at it is it's not as if the players and the coaches are leaving after that first half against Middle Tennessee State and going, all right, guys, we got like they're probably upset with the way they played. Like, they know it. They don't need to hear you tell them that they're doing not up to par. Like, they get it. I'm sure they understand that. I'm sure they were frustrated. I just don't know what it accomplishes. I think they already are aware of how they were playing, and they came back. And to me as well, when you boo like that in the first half, you're not taking into account the entire game. Like, let's say the end of the game and they lose 42-10. Okay. Like, I get it a little bit more. I do, but you've only seen half the game. I don't know. Maybe this is just a me thing. I don't think it accomplishes much of anything. Now, I was talking about this with Pete before the match when we were off air, and he said something that I think made sense. He's like, that doesn't mean that the coaches didn't go into that locker room and say, did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear what these fans are saying? Like, that could serve as a little bit of motivation. So I guess in a way it could, if it's used correctly by coaches, like as a motivational tool. I don't know. I don't get booing, especially in the second game of the season after the first 2 quarters. I don't understand that. I can understand it more. I still don't think it accomplishes much of anything, is besides just you being frustrated. I can understand it more if it's like halfway through the season and you've won 1 game and you're trailing a bad team by 30 points or something. Like, I get it. I still don't think it does anything, but I understand it more. So those are my thoughts on booing. I just don't get it. Green Bay Packers, watching the Packers. They're the team to beat right now after week 1 in the NFC North. I have heard some people get a little too excited, I think, maybe, like talking 96, talking best defense. Like, we don't, once again, it's 1 game. Like, they look great. They're the team to beat right now. Everything's running on all cylinders. I just think sometimes we get a little too excited and we say things that, I don't know, maybe make a catchy headline or a good tease on a radio show or something cool on social media where so-and-so says this. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves after 1 game. I also think that's a little silly saying there's the best team since. That's just you being excited. That's fine. You can be excited. Just, I don't know. That just rubbed me the wrong way, I guess. But the Packers are great so far through 1 game. We'll see. I held my judgment until Monday Night Football, unlike everything I saw online where it's like Packers number 1. I'm like, yeah, they are so far, but there's 2 other NFC North teams that haven't played. We'll see how the Lions progress through the season. Maybe the Lions are once again a really good team, and that win looks even better than it already does. Maybe the Lions are not the team they were last year, and this win doesn't look as good. I don't know. We're through 1 game, but through 1 game, it definitely is the Packers. And Micah Parsons looks like he is a difference maker for sure. That's the pickup of the year, it seems like right now. But I did want to watch Monday Night Football, and I don't think either the Vikings or the Bears took a step forward to say we're the best. But it was pretty encouraging seeing, I'm a Vikings fan, sorry. It was pretty encouraging to see J.J. McCarthy come back in the 4th quarter, beat the Bears. That was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. Sorry, Jim Rutledge. Your Bears lost. All right. Let's get back to volleyball. So I talked about Grace Egan's electric serve, 5 aces against the Panthers in that 3-set win. And Kelly Sheffield on the Kelly Sheffield Show recently just talked about how impactful the team's serving is going to be or can be this season. Here's what the head coach had to say.
Well, I think it's going to be a real strength all year long. It's, I think we've got 6 or 7 servers that can really get behind the line and get a run of points, which, I told our team a couple of days ago, they should never feel like they're out of a set. I had a player when I was at Albany. Her name was Eileen Nicole Rodriguez, and she was a lefty top side spin server. And I think she set the NCAA record for service aces about going into her junior year. It might have been her sophomore year, it might have been her junior year. It's probably the most unbreakable stat in the volleyball stat book. But we never felt like we were out of it because she could just go on a 9-point run just like that, within 2 minutes. We saw a little bit of that with Egan last night. But we've got a team full of people that can score points in a real hurry. So how do you get your in percentage up a little bit while also letting them get back there and serve with confidence? And because that's kind of where we're wanting to be at. We've served well. We've probably still missed more than what some of our fans would like, and that's fine. Yeah. But they're just going to have to get used to it. I mean, we're going to have a little bit lower in percentage because of our ability to really overwhelm people with pace.
I think that's really interesting to think about is that with the serving, whether it's Grace Egan or somebody else, that they're never really out of it, that they can go on these types of runs. That's really encouraging. That's that's a difference maker. Obviously, that's a difference maker when, maybe it comes at the end of a set when you're down 23-20 and you go on a run and you walk out of there 25-23. So I thought that was interesting how he talked about how that could be that difference maker that's going to keep them in matches. Essentially, I looked up who he was talking about. Eileen Nicole Rodriguez. Now, this is the record book, and I'm looking at NCAA volleyball. Most in a season, 207? 207 aces in one season? That doesn't even make sense. Like, if you get to like 40 or 50, you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Anything over 50, you're like, oh my gosh, this person is dealing. 207 aces, NCAA record for a season. 2002. There you go. All right, let's get you caught up with some of my pregame interviews in case you missed those. I believe this was against UC Davis, I want to say. I had a chance to catch up with Wisconsin outside hitter Trinity Shadd-Ceres. So here's that interview in case you missed it with Trinity. So last year at about this time, you were thrust into the starting lineup for Wisconsin. Has that made you a better player going into year two?
Yeah, for sure. I think I got a lot of experience early on, which was really fun. I got to learn from a whole bunch of incredible players, so just picking up pieces of their game and applying it to mine is something I really used from last year.
Yeah, is that something year to year where you're always trying to add new things to your skill set, and what are some of those things maybe you're working on here in your second year?
Yeah, for sure. Coming from Canada, I would for sure say the pool of players here in the U.S. is a lot wider range of skill and things like that. So just learning from them. One crazy thing was Sarah Franklin's cross shot. So like getting to learn hands-on and seeing that really close up is something I'm always trying to get. So just like picking away at that shot is for sure something I'm trying to add to my game.
Talking about like that 4-to-4 shot?
Yeah.
How hard is that to do for a player?
For her, it came easy, but over time, So I think me staying consistent and devoted to that, maybe I'll get it.
So what are your thoughts on the first two matches then of the season and what you've seen from your team in a 1-1 start to the year?
Yeah, I think it's a very different team than last year, but we're still very skilled, very raw, I would say, this early on in the season. A lot to learn, but I think having the new transfers in, the freshmen step up, it's just incredible, and I can't wait to see how much we grow throughout the season.
Talking with Wisconsin's Trinity Shadd-Ceres. Now, I saw you and Grace on an Instagram Live recently, so I decided to ask a question. I asked you who has the highest vertical on your team, and your answer was, do you remember?
Vince.
Yeah, he jumped for me last week at the Kohl Center, and it looks like he's floating.
Yeah, he's literally a ballerina. He just stays up there in the air. It's like someone pressed pause on him.
I asked him who's then behind him, and he said it's you probably.
Yeah, I'm right there next.
Do you know what your vertical is when you're 100%?
No, I'm not. I've touched 10-9, but yeah.
Are you ready for a little rapid fire?
Yeah.
Okay. If you could play a different position in volleyball, what position would it be?
I think setting would be really fun. You just get to control everything, so.
Favorite pregame meal?
Oh. I'm not really picky, so food.
Food, that's a good answer. You wanted that. Do you have a certain coffee order you usually get?
Iced caramel macchiato, McDonald's, Starbucks, anywhere. Macchiato hits all the time.
Not picky. And then finally, is USA and Canada, like just overall, are they like pretty much the same overall? Or have you noticed like maybe a couple of differences, like we'd never do that in Canada or something like that?
I would for sure say the Midwest is very similar to where I'm from in Canada. I do get trolled and made fun of a lot for saying certain words like pardon instead of what, or how I say certain words. I can't.
For being polite?
Yeah, for being polite, basically. But that's just the foundation of my country, so yeah.
Thanks, Trent.
Of course.
There you go. It's Trinity Shadd-Ceres. During that whole interview, and by the way, wait, let me take a step back. Vince, manager Vince, we talked about it there. It's shocking. It's shocking to see him jump because it looks like he gave no effort whatsoever in the jump. And yet he just rises and he just keeps going. And he's just like, it's really fun to watch. Anyway, during that whole interview, I kept looking for Nicole Eileen Rodriguez. I'm obsessed right now trying to find her career totals. I can't. So here's my point. If one of you know the career totals for her, Nicole Eileen Rodriguez, for aces, I found the record for in a season, but I'd love to know like where she stands in total career aces. Let me know. Drop it in the comments in Spotify on this podcast, or just send me a post on X. All right. Speaking of aces, Morgan Van Wie got her first career ace as a Wisconsin Badger against Chicago State. So I caught up with Morgan Van Wie before the match against Milwaukee to talk about that and just being a great teammate and advice she'd give to players getting into the sport of volleyball. Here's Morgan Van Wie. What did it mean for you to get into the match on Friday against Chicago State and earn your first career ace, and it happens at the Fieldhouse?
I think it's really fun because I grew up here, so I grew up feeling very inspired by the teams and the people that were playing in this arena in the Fieldhouse. And I just think it's really cool that now I get to contribute something, and no matter what the role is, big or small, cheering from the bench or getting to serve an ace, I think just getting to be able to contribute is so cool.
You know, you were very talkative about your teammates after the match when we spoke, and just how happy you were for all their success. I think it goes the other way, too. I mean, did it mean a little bit extra, too, to see your teammates really excited for you on the flip side of that?
Yeah, I think I know that they're always there for me and that they're always going to be excited for me. And so I think that I just know that they're always going to support me. And I just think it's really important for me and in the role that I'm in to be able to be the best teammate that I can. I think that that's one of the things that you can control. Maybe I can't control how much better I'm getting every single day skill-wise, or how good I came in skill-wise. I can't control that, but I can control how good of a teammate I am. And so I think that does go both ways, but I like being able to be there for my teammates, and I think being there in their corner is just really important, and everyone needs a teammate like that, so that's what I try to be. Talking with Morgan Van Wie, what is it like to have Lauren Carlini now as a full-time assistant coach? Because I know you talked about you looked up to Sydney Hilly, right? And so another Badger legend too, and you get to learn from her. Yeah, I think it's so refreshing because you get a very different perspective. She's played here, and so she's gone through all of the things on the player side, but then also leaning into a more coaching role. So she kind of bridges the gap between the players and the coaches. She's kind of that middle ground in kind of a different role for herself too, and I think it's just really cool to have someone who's been there and who knows what she's talking about, and also someone who can empathize with us a little bit as players. So I think that that's been really fun. And yeah, at first it was a bit of a, oh my gosh, you're meeting your idol and now this person is coaching me, but I think now it's just, really good bond with her, and I think that that's so cool that she is coaching for us. And yeah, it's a good person to have in that role, I think, for all three of us as setters. Final question for you. Well, it's kind of a two-part question, I guess. When did you start playing volleyball, and what advice would you give to younger players who are just getting into the game or new to the sport? Did you say when or where? Yeah, when. Like when? What age? Okay, I was 12 or 13. I swam for a long, long time, 6 years-ish, and then after swimming stopped, I had a lot more free time, and one of my friends got me into volleyball, so 12 or 13. I started really late comparatively to the people that start when they're 5 years old, which is a lot of my teammates and a lot of people that play. And so I think just like focusing on trying to get better little by little and not comparing. That's the big advice that I would give, is don't compare your path to anyone else's path. It doesn't matter when you start, it matters where you finish. And so I think that just putting the work in every single day and comparing something is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. So I just think focus on your own path and focus on what you can do to get 1% better every single day. And that's the biggest thing, is don't look at anyone else's road. Look at your own. Thanks, Morgan. Thank you.
There you go. Morgan Van Wie. Comparison is the thief of joy. I think we can all take that advice. Don't compare your path to anyone else's path and whatever you're trying to accomplish. I love that by Morgan Van Wie. Great teammate. Got her first career ace. Wisconsin kid. Loved it for her against Chicago State. Okay, that's this week's podcast. Working on getting a Badgers assistant coach on, coming up for a future podcast. Hey, thank you for everyone who's come up to me in person as well. And I tell Gary this, that love the Gary White podcast and all the numbers and insights and analytics that he provided. I enjoyed it just as much as you did. So we'll see if maybe we can convince Gary to do another podcast or two throughout the course of the season, because that's what you guys want to hear. So let's try to bring you that. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Thanks for subscribing, downloading, following, commenting, sharing, do all the things, liking. It all helps. It all helps get this momentum going. I got my NIL up there too. If you want to chip in with that, you can get a shout out on the podcast. That's a thing too for you to go check out. Let's see here. I don't think I missed anything. Going to Georgia Tech, going to Atlanta next. All right, that's it. Talk to you next time on the podcast. Thanks for listening to this edition of the John Cast Podcast. Goodbye.